you know what they say, why make one tutorial when you can make 10 tutorials? I'm not actually sure how many there's going to be in this video. So it's going to be a collection of a bunch of like simple quality of life type things that I've made over the years for Minecraft Bedrock. The first one I'm going to go over here is going to be the brush. It's one of the most foundational admin tools or building tools that you can have. So you're going to need to somehow give yourself the tag brush. There's a command block here that I'm going to show off in a second that will do it for you, but you can also just put the command in chat. So all this tool does is it loads a structure 30 blocks in the direction you're looking if you have the tag brush and if you're holding a brush. So over here is the structure. It's loading this little mound of stone. The structure is called brush. It's called brush in the command too. It needs to be the same name. You need to have structure blocks. You need to have structure voids in all the air blocks surrounding the structure when you save it. Otherwise, it'll place air in the inside of the stone, deleting it, which will cause it to like have all these like weird gaps in it, and it won't look very good. So as you can see, this works just like a normal brush tool. Although, I mean, this is basically the standardized design. Most people I see use a wooden axe to be more similar to World Edit, but I'm using a brush because it's called a brush tool, and that's very fitting in my opinion. But that's all you really need to know on how to do this. So that's a good thing, for sure. I don't know if I'm going to leave in all this footage of me building here for the main video. I've given myself more time in the beginning of the video by adding that clip of my modified survival world project. But you can see that this builds pretty well. I just threw that together really quickly though. I'm sorry that this is like a little bit poor audio quality, by the way, and also that I'm kind of not talking very well. I'm trying to do this in as few takes as possible. The next thing here that I've been showing off on screen, I call it the like Enderman tool. At least that's the name I've given it to be catchy for a video. All it basically does is just teleport you 30 blocks in the direction you're looking whenever you drop an item. And that big stack of 4 commands, that's what actually teleports you. And these two right here, they make it so that when you have the tag admin and you look straight up, it puts the nether star, which is the item that teleports you, into your hand. As you can see, I already had the admin tag. The basic functionality is it gives the item a tag called TP whenever it's near an admin, and then it just makes the nearest admin teleport. I have coded this in like 15 different ways. I always do it differently because it's sort of simple. But I literally can't live without it. Like every single world I ever help with commands on, I need to build this thing so that I can actually like exist. It's so difficult to play without it now because you fly upward very slowly. So either you have to have this, you have to have an elytra and fireworks, and this is just a lot easier, less cumbersome. Yeah, it's very convenient to use. So next up, I'm going to show you some stationary custom crafting. So I call it stationary custom crafting because it will only work in like one spot of the world, right? And once again, all the commands will be shown in the description of the video. But like it won't work if you place it anywhere else but where the command blocks are. You can do it differently, but as you can see, that was the crafting recipe in the bottom dropper. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put in the same items in the top dropper, and what you'll see is that it crafts the cool sword. It's just loading a structure called cool sword. So in order to have it do that, you have to create the item first and then save it as a structure. And the basics of this is that it just checks the dropper below the command blocks, and if it's identical to the dropper above the command blocks, it first summons or loads the structure to place the item down, and then resets the dropper and makes it into a normal upward facing dropper. So you need to place a structure block with the same name and that size with the structure void on top. Then you drop the item, you save it, and then anytime you do this, right, you put the items in, if you do it correctly, you'll get the item on top. You can add extra commands if you want, like particle effects, or if you want, sounds whenever you do that. But then you got yourself a cool sword, and you can use it to kill zombies. So that's very nice. Next up, something I call the magic eraser. This is honestly basically identical to the Enderman commands over here, except for that section where if you look straight up, it gives you the items. But basically all it does is it, instead of teleporting you whenever you drop an item, it will spawn a couple end crystals where you're standing. And if you have mob griefing turned on, you can go up to something like, let's say you don't like this mountain over here, so you walk up to it and you just spam a shit ton of end crystals all over it. Probably a little bit excessive since it spawns several at once. So you can see there's like a lot of entities in the world now, and I'm lagging. So it's going to take a while for these to blow up because I decided to be a little bit excessive with it. Yeah, wow, I'm getting launched pretty far away. Luckily, I'm going to get teleported back because I dropped the nether star. So in reality, when you have it spawning like 4 end crystals, I think it is, only like drop it once or twice. You can actually use this to shape builds too, right? To get like, concave curvature, which is sort of useful a lot of the time, or like to make caves. But it's honestly just more fun than a fill command, and you won't destroy command blocks with it, so it's nice in that way. So the next thing here is very similar code to the Enderman tool and to the magic eraser. So you see those 2 items in my inventory. When I drop the sea lantern, I teleport back to the center of the world to spawn 010. And when I drop the barrier, it deletes all the items from my inventory, right? Clears my inventory. That can be very useful because it means you don't have to type out these long commands anymore. So it just detects when I'm looking straight up and then gives you those items, puts those in the slot. It won't work if there's an item already in those slots. That's just so that it won't delete items out of your inventory, because that can be shitty if that happens. But again, the code will be in the description. And I'm actually using the same tag TP for both of these, even though the one that's clearing you doesn't teleport you. It's just because I'm just reusing the same or very similar code to do it. Let me turn back the weather and the. I know I can turn it on to always day, but I decided not to. So this thing here, this next thing is a daytime. Sorry, not daytime. It's an entity tracker, right? It tracks how many entities in the world. So you see that scoreboard that's been here the entire video. What this does is it just counts how many entities. So first you need these 2 command blocks. The first one creates the entity count scoreboard, right? And the second one, right, it makes the scoreboard display on the sidebar so you can actually see it, right? So the first one, entity count, and the next one displays it on the sidebar. So if you press that button, boom. And then the actual meat of the contraption here is these purple ones here. So count. The count is a fake player, and it's using the entity count scoreboard that I created. A fake player is just when you set it as a player name that doesn't exist. It'll still give it a value, but it won't be an entity. It'll just be like sort of like a variable. And then the first step is it sets the number to 0, and then it adds 1 for every entity. It does that every single tick. So at the end of every tick, you'll have a count, right, of every entity in the world, because each one will have added 1 to the number once. So here, I'm showing you how to use this, right, for something that's practical. So this big long tower is me converting that entity count value into into an actual like distance. So I'm actually copying the entity count to another fake player called display, just so you can see the count there and not have it be 0, because the way this works is it always sets it to 0 at the end. And basically, it does like a binary search where it says, hey, is the number of the display greater than 256? If it is, teleport this armor stand that's hidden inside of those inside of that wall, teleport it 32 blocks up. And then, once you've done that, if it's above 256, then remove 256 from the score, right? And then repeat that for each half value. So do that for 256, and then do it for 128, and for 128 teleport 16 blocks up, and then for 64, right, teleport 8 blocks up or whatever, and keep going until you've reached 1, right? So what the result of that is as it turns out, any number, right, in this case below 511 can be constructed as a list of powers of 2, because that's actually how binary works, right, when you read numbers. So as you can see, as more and more entities get added, that display goes up and up and up and up and up. It's actually about 8 entities, because the way I have it set up here is it always teleports them 1/8 of a block per number in the scoreboard. So if the scoreboard is 512, which is 1 more than the highest possible value that the system right now can handle, then it will do 64. So it's actually, if you just want the display here, right, and you the main purpose of this display is to show you a use case for having a scoreboard, or rather how to turn a scoreboard into a distance. However, if you simply wanted a display like this, you wouldn't bother creating the scoreboard at all. You would just use this system, which simply tells every entity to teleport this guy 1/8 of a block up, right? So if there's 100 entities, then it teleports it 1/8 of a block up 100 times, which is the exact same as the other system. It's just simpler, right? As you can see, it still works. However, this system and that part right there, they're both equally laggy to each other, right? So if you already have the entity value system, which is something you probably want to have, the entity counter, then you don't want to do it the other way, right? You want to do it in this much longer way, because this thing here only has 25 command blocks, but each one does like 2 things. So if there's if there's 100 entities, right, it'll still do like 50 operations. But this other one, this smaller one, does 1 operation per entity, right? So if there's 100 entities, it does 100 operations, which ends up being more. So if all you're building is this display, then that's all you want. So I forgot to go over this earlier, but all this is just one of those item replenishing things. It just clones the barrel below to the barrel above, allowing you to have an infinite replenishing chest. This delay in ticks matters. It's set to 100 right now, which is probably more than you actually need. Although if you set it to like 0, it'll glitch out and stop working. It won't even show up, as you can see here. If you set it to like 10, it'll work a little bit better. You can get some stuff out of it, but really you set it to like, 40 to 100 in reality, just so that it's, it replenishes quickly, but not so quick that it doesn't work anymore. Thank you so much for watching this video. I went through everything really quickly, so I probably didn't even show off all the command blocks in the video, but everything's going to be in the description. I hopefully will be making more command block stuff soon. I decided to make this video because some of the other ones I was trying to make were like a little bit too difficult for me to make a video explaining, because I have to kind of assume that the target audience for whatever I'm making like doesn't know anything about command blocks, and giving someone a tool that requires the same level of understanding to make as to use is like a bit of a dick move. So, you know, I need to get better at making videos and explaining things. I am sorry that this video probably had like a lot of rambling and ums and uhs and stuff like that. I'm not very good at recording audio yet, so that is a problem, and I do apologize. Stuff like this, like you're seeing in the background, I can show you guys how to do that. It's just, you know, well, this one's actually pretty simple, but it's harder to explain how this works. But yeah, once again, thank you guys so much for watching, if any of you did. Most of these will also be posted as shorts. The idea would be to, you know, make the big long video and then direct people to it using the shorts feed, you know, and see how that works. It's probably not going to work very well because I'm a bit rambly. Sorry for the chair noises. Yeah, that's about it. I think I have nothing more to talk about. I am contemplating right now leaving in the rest of this like snow footage. It's like 5 minutes of it. It's satisfying. I could put like music behind it or something. I don't know what music I would use. Yeah, so I'll just shut up and I'll leave it here. Catch you guys in the next one if I ever do make a brother tutorial. Who knows?